Hey guys, so finally I'm back and I have to wish you Happy New Year. I've been gone for a really long time because I've actually been sick, and fortunately this was not COVID. That is actually really good. Today's video is going to be mainly about the Estonian language, why this language is not that hard as every foreigner usually says, and I think Estonian language compared to a lot of other languages in the world is actually one of the easiest ones. And yes, the grammar can be very complex. Today I am going to start off with why Estonian language is not that hard. First of all, when you see a word in Estonian, then you don't skip any letters. You pronounce every word as you see, and we don't have tones. We definitely have, as we call that, a pressure on letter. Some people call that tone. It's not tone, because tones actually tell you the meaning of the word, and if you don't say the word with the right tone, then the translation can be totally different. It's not tone. It's exactly like in Russian language, where you have to say certain letters a little bit longer, or you have to pressure the letter more so people understand, oh, it's that kind of word. But the meaning of the word itself doesn't change if you say that word a little bit incorrectly. It's just how the language flows. Just like in Korean, where you have to say sentences in certain speed and you have to put pressure on certain words more than others, so the flow of the language will sound very natural. Estonian language can be very complicated at first because we have 4 letters, what you can definitely see in a lot of Scandinavian languages and definitely in German. Another thing what makes Estonian language easy is that we have no genders. Literally, we have no genders. I think what makes language hard are genders, especially if you have genders based on what gender you have and the genders of the noun. When we talk about someone, oh, this person right there, we don't have he or she or it. We just have one word, which is called tema. We don't know the gender. You will figure that out throughout the conversation. This is one of the best things about the Estonian language, that we cannot have any non-binary or transsexual issues in our language or society, because these things don't exist in our language. You can talk about people without offending them. You are not supposed to learn the gender of the person. You can just talk about them, and you don't even have to know how they define themselves. Estonian's language is a little bit helping you out there. I think that's one of the best things about the Estonian language. You can never offend anyone. Another thing which can make Estonian language hard are the 14 cases plus irregularities. And if you happen to speak Russian or Finnish, then definitely cases are nothing strange to you. Your own languages also have them. If I'm not mistaken, German also has this kind of thing. So cases are, or can be, a little bit tricky thing to study, but definitely Estonians themselves don't know cases. We just speak the language. We just learn sentences, and I think that's one of the best ways how to approach the language. Don't try to make sense. If you're not going to be an Estonian language teacher, you don't need to learn any grammar. Just don't focus on it. Just learn how to speak the language, how to say certain things, and you're completely fine. Also, another thing what the Estonian language doesn't have is formality. We don't have separate words for formal and informal language. We just have a language and we have slangs. That's it. Nothing else. It's very hard, especially when you try to learn Korean or Japanese or Chinese, even when they have completely different words. When you want to be extremely formal, when you want to be formal, and when you want to be informal. Estonians aren't very formal with each other. Even when we work at the companies, when we apply for job interviews, they don't treat you like in Spanish you would say ustedes, which is a very formal way of you. In Estonian, we don't use those things very often. We say very formal when we want to treat other person a little bit more formal, but majority of time even when we meet strangers, we are very informal with them, and that's how Estonian culture is. So now I am going to show you some of the websites which I found that are super great. When you don't have any resources out there to learn an Estonian language, then definitely these websites can be a great start. So one of the things what you can definitely do is Google Estonian phrases, and you will see a bunch of websites immediately. You can see the Ominglat, which is definitely a super great website. I've personally used it myself for other languages. You can definitely see that they have a bunch of phrases, and when you want to know how the same phrase is in another language, you just have to click on it and you can see that there's a bunch of languages. So this website is very, very limited, but it's definitely perfect for someone who is just learning how to say certain things in certain language. Website which I recently found is speakinglanguages.com, and also this is super great. They have a bunch of phrases over here. They have vocabulary, and you can just start learning some main words. And when you click home, then you can also choose other languages over here. But when it comes to phrases, then you can choose a whole bunch of topics from here. And I personally watched some of the phrases and they are very normal. We use them on a daily basis. Another website which I recommend is Linguanaut, which also has a bunch of Estonian phrases, and they also have an audio version, which is very important, because Google Translate time to time can tell you the pronunciation, but it can be very strange. And also I'm noticing that some of the phrases are very formal over here, but definitely you can see some of the things what people use on a daily basis, and teenagers specifically. So this website has a lot of phrases, and I think this is definitely super cool, and also you can choose other languages. Another one is mylanguages.org, and you can also find a bunch of phrases there. You can see that there's a lot of adjectives, adverbs, nouns, article, pronouns, feminine, and you can see that this website I think is the best for learning Estonian. Unfortunately, they don't have an audio version, but definitely this is super great. 101languages.net, which is also super great. They have also audio versions. They have all the other languages, so you're not only limited with an Estonian language. You can also read Estonian news. Another website which I want to show you where you can actually download free ebooks is a Z Library. And you have to Google that, because in every country they have different servers. So every country has their own Z Library website. And when you open it, you just type in Estonian, and you can see that there's bunch of Estonian books. I definitely recommend you to download EPUB or PDF, and you can see that this file information is over here, and you can see the language of the book. So if you're, for example, German speaker, then you can download this book and it teaches you Estonian language. I personally recommend you to download Colloquial. They have extremely awesome language books. They are actually very pricey. They are around 38 euros, but they're definitely one of the best out there. I also recommend Classica Math Sentence. I also own those books in other languages. They can be very strange sentences, but you know, it's something. And they have, I think, 3 books, so definitely I think this is super great. Also, they have specific book for Estonian grammar. They have Teacher Self Estonian, which is also a really great book. I totally fan McGraw-Hill books. I own Practice Makes Perfect in another languages, and these are literally the best language books I've ever seen. But unfortunately, yes, there aren't many Estonian language books. As you can see, there are a lot of Estonian history books and stuff like that. But definitely when it comes to Estonian English, then yes, it's very hard to find language books which are targeted only Estonian. But another possibility is to travel to Estonia and buy language books what are made for Estonians, but for example about German language or any other language. So basically these were all the resources what I can share with you about Estonian language. I will try to make more videos in future about the phrases what Estonians use, the slang what we use. Thank you for watching this video, and if you have any comments or questions, my comment section is open, or you can just email me. A lot of people have written to me, which is super great, and definitely I will try to answer them in 24 hours. See you next time.